it has the best bassy sound to it out of all the different instruments. It makes the best, the best reverb, the best what have you. And I actually, in this particular emulation of the chip, I have the bass cranked up more than it would have been on the original hardware, because we now all have better speakers with better bass than they ever did back in the day, and it rounds out the sound. It makes it sound a little nicer, even if it's not perfectly in spec. It's like 99% of the way there. So, main really hard thing about the triangle channel is you have no volume control. It is either on or it's off. You can't have a half volume triangle wave play. The hardware was incapable of supporting that. So I'm either playing a note at full volume or playing absolutely nothing out of that. So keep that in mind kind of where I'm going here. Channel 4 is what I use to emulate the noise or the static channel. And that, I'm going to stop this pretty quick because it's brutal, but that's how that sounds. Let me up the octave a little bit. So it's a super nasty, crackly kind of, sounds like white noise gone awry on like a bad acid trip. It's a terrible sound, but it's given the timbre of the sound. It's really what all the old composers used for things like hi-hats, explosions, snare drums, and we'll get into snare drums in a second. But this noise channel, when used expertly, some of the stuff that you can pull off with it is insane. I am atrocious at using this sample. I've just now gotten comfortable, assuming the song speed is high enough, using it as like hi-hats, like open and closed hi-hats. But in terms of like the higher level, sound effect style use of this channel, I do not understand how to do it. One of these days I'll put in the time and I'll learn, more well-roundedly how to take advantage of this channel. But it's a tough one. I used it on my first game jam to add some hi-hats to one of Brandon's musical remixes. I don't think I'm going to use it here. I think I'm just going to use PCM drums. And that's this fifth channel. And the way that PCM drums work is these are super, super crappy wave files. These are like the proto wave files that Nintendo used. If you remember Blades of Steel, there's this part at the beginning where it goes, Blades of Steel. As far as I understand, that's like a combination of a super low quality PCM and a little bit of tonal assistance to kind of flesh out little parts of it to make it sound like human voice. Most every Nintendo game that used the PCM channel used it for a basic bass drum and a basic snare drum and then some kind of tom sounding stuff. But it was the only channel that really did those sounds justice without being really good at manipulating static. If you listen to some of the later games in the NES Mega Man series, their static drums are incredible. That's one of my case studies to try to eventually learn how to use static drums. So anyway, so let's just kind of mess around real quick and see how this works, right? So we've got, let's start with our 12.5. This one's kind of guitar sounding more so than any of the other ones. So, ooh, that's not good. Alright, so we got 12.5 there. Let's do some other stuff here. Alright, so we got some simple stuff happening. Let's toss a couple of these drums in there just so you can see how these work. And let me throw some bass notes in there. And this isn't going to be the actual song, I'm just kind of showing you how to play with it. So, and remember, these can only be on or off. I cannot mess with volume. So right now we have no dynamics whatsoever. It's going to sound kind of nasty, but let's play what we just kind of threw out. Pretty basic. So let's mess with some volume, right? So those notes sustain, the channels 2 and 3 tonal sustains for way too long. That's nasty. So let's chop that volume in half after it's been playing for a second on the sustain notes. See what that does to our overall song here. So let's loop this bass just so we can keep it a little more fun here. Pretty basic. Now I want to cut these notes a little more aggressively. So let's take it down to 32 halfway through the note's life cycle, and then again down to 16. So we're having it twice in a row to give it kind of an abbreviated note sound. And I can save some time by copying that effect and pasting it down here. So let's see how that works. And I want that to fade out. So let's 24 that here, let's 16 it here, let's 8 it here, and let's 0 it at the end. There we go. So, in a nutshell, that is what I'm doing to create music. If any of you follow me on SoundCloud or have heard any of my music, this is exactly what I've done for all but 2 of the songs that are on my SoundCloud page. And I actually use this same program for the other 2 songs, but I use real instruments and a full channel set and no restrictions and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I didn't do much with them. I'm so used to this that I wrote those songs pretty much the same way as I write these. I just use real instruments. So, now we're going to get into the actual song I'm making, right? So we need to figure out what is that song. It is the Game Over theme from a game called Ease Memories in Celceta. So I'm going to search for that on YouTube, which is the world's easiest way to find these songs. So, Ease Celceta Game Over Music. Let's see what that gets us. Gets us nothing. Wow, that's surprising. Okay. Ease Celceta Music. Let's just do that. Silver Anniversary, that's the one that I have that doesn't have it. Okay. Full track list. Let's do that. Let's check this out and see what the track is actually titled, right? Damn it. Okay, that's still the wrong one. That's still the one that is included. I don't want that. Let me take a different non-Google, well, still Google, but let me just go to YouTube directly and search for it there, because Google doesn't seem to like me very much right now. Alright, so Ease Celceta Game Over Music. It's a weird thing to have as just the music, but oh, and that's a super old one. That would probably sound amazing, but let's try Ease Celceta Boss, right? Because if it's a boss, chances are people are game overing all the time because the game's super hard. Alright, let's do Aldavas. And this boss sucks. This is the first boss.
Hey guys, Amphicom here, and I make all sorts of gaming videos on my channel at youtube.com/.
I'm not helping you advertise, moron. You should not be able to advertise for yourself when using pirated material. That's frustrating to me. If you're showing content from another game, at least do the game the service of not using that game to advertise yourself. So let me fast forward. I'm jumping around here. I'm waiting for him to die so that I can see. And he's not going to die. He's going to kill the boss. Well, this is kind of a pain. I'm going to have to break out my Vita and actually game over to hear this song. That's kind of disappointing. Well, I know how the song goes, so I'm just going to write it from memory. So, screw y'all listening to the real song. Adam, I was looking for the song that plays when you game over. You know, they're like that. And I know how it goes completely from memory, so I really don't need it. I just wanted to show it to the other people on the channel. But in the interest of not wasting any more time, I'm just going to start writing it from memory. My brain is super weird musically. I tend to hear something one time and I have every note in the song memorized. I have no idea why that's how my brain works, but why not put it to good use, right? So, and of course, of all the songs that I've heard more than one time, the Game Over song in that game, I've probably heard, God, 300, 400 times? Playing those games on Nightmare is just maddeningly difficult in the most satisfying of ways. So, let's use Square 50 and just start composing this guy. And before we do that, let's get our tempo down, because I know kind of how this is going to work. Use some, oops, that ain't right. And I'm just going to move all this over to channel 4. I'm going to do some basic bass drums here to get a feel for my tempo. Speed it up a little bit. Not quite there. Let's do 170. And you'll notice my songs seem like they're going way faster than they need to go. And the reason that I do that is you have a lot more room to do volume fades and note cuts and that kind of thing when you speed through the song really fast. If I were to slow it down to a more manageable tempo, I'd have a lot less malleability of the sound itself. So for chiptunes especially, you really need to use high song speed in order to have the granular control that you need to make them work. So I'm going to leave these in there even though the song has no drums to kind of help me keep my tempo. I know, right? Every single time, like the other day I was trying to kind of prepare for this and I was listening to the OST. All of a sudden, like 2.5 hours of my life have gone by and I've done nothing except just like reminisce about how awesome the game is and fly through the soundtrack. Seriously, everyone, I'm going to be whoring this game to the masses the whole time I'm talking, but this series is incredible. If you like well-made and appropriately difficult games at all, YS, greatest games in the world. They're a little bit Japanese for people that don't have the gaming sensibilities that some of us have grown up with, but I mean the stories are honestly pretty solid despite the anime-ness of some of it, and good lord is the action incredible. So anyway, back to this. Oops, and I don't even have a tonal instrument yet, so let's toss some... I need to up this octave. I need more notes. Sorry, doing this from memory, I have to count things out in my head here. It's kind of difficult. And I'm just getting main melody down here so I can build around it. Oops. And if any of you are musically inclined, you might realize that I'm never hitting the right notes. That's because I don't actually know how to read music. I have never officially learned. I took one music theory class, and honestly, it didn't really click. I'm such a by-ear musician that I'm a very mathematical and by-ear musician that staff notation and like all the actual, I don't know, the book tonal side of music, it just doesn't work for me. It's really weird, but if I have a little bit of time to play the wrong thing and sound out the right thing, I can make great stuff. But if you give me a piece of sheet music and you say sing that correctly, once I know the first note, I can probably read the intervals, but that's not music for me. So, all right, so let's see if I got this right. Got every note right first pass. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. And I think I'm going to chord it. I'm going to do something a little bit different with the song itself. And I also have another intro part. So let me... Dude, yeah, I completely agree, man. It's... And in a lot of ways, especially considering the more recent Final Fantasies, I honestly think it's eclipsed Final Fantasy for me. it's so much higher energy all the time, which just really works for me. Final Fantasy's always got great battle music and great, but there are always those, the occasional town theme that's throwaway, and Ys just, every song is good. So, granted, I mean, that's like 98% versus 99% in terms of array. I mean, they're so close, it's crazy, but... So I need crazy dynamics going on here, but I'll worry about that once I toss a bass line in here. Drop back down. Drop another octave. Let's see if this is what I think it is. Oops. My bad. There we go. Alright, so I got bass and main melody with no dynamics. Well, that was quick. Damn, I've been practicing a lot more than I thought recently. Okay, so I'm going to need to do something with the second instrument, and I'm not quite sure what that'll be. I may just echo the first. Oh, in fact, that'd be a great thing to demo for y'all. So let me toss some slides and fun stuff, dress things up a little bit, and then we'll echo spam that, and we'll have a title song done in no time. Oh, and one other thing I got to do is do a proper lead-in. Ooh, lots of octaves needed. All right, so now we got to start with 4. 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll 0, 1, 2, 3 it again, because I don't want to write anything more than just the intro phrase, or I will run out of time. So... Alright, so I already know one thing I'm going to do, which is these notes. I'm changing instruments with these, because I don't want to use that one anymore. That's no fun. We've already used that enough. So let's change these to instrument 1, which is the... Oh, damn it. I'm telling you, touchscreen, you were murdering me today. Murderatti golfing me today. Now, before I do any of my echo stuff, I need to get all my dynamics in place for everything. So, as we know about the bass, I don't need to mess with that at all. It's either on or off, and I've already handled that business. So, let's take care of channel 2 here. I want these to be cut in that same kind of fashion that I showed y'all in the demo song. So, let's do exactly that then. Good times. And people who haven't realized this yet, IONISJQ is Adam Murderatti, who this game is for. So yeah, you are now officially in the chat room with a celebrity. If you're not all bowing to your computers right now, you need to get the fuck out of the channel. It's just unacceptable to me that you're not paying adequate due respect. So there you go. Actually, please don't leave. Please don't leave. Alright, back to this good stuff. So let's see what I got so far with my dynamics. Alright, so that's where I stopped. Alright, I think I got dynamics done for channel 1, and then channel 2 is going to be easy, because it's just going to be a copied and slightly later copy of channel 2. Or channel 3 will be a copy of channel 2, except it will be lower in volume and it will be later. And what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a manual delay. One of the things that was incredibly limiting about Nintendo Music was the fact that you had so few channels to work with that you literally just needed to be firing notes on them at all times, or it got really boring. So one of the things people started to learn to do as people got more comfortable with the hardware was when the second tonal channel doesn't need to be playing a note, you can use it to flesh out the solo note that the only active channel is playing. So I will give you an example of how that works. So let's listen to pattern 0. So that's how pattern 0 goes, right? We are going to take all the stuff that's in pattern 0, we're going to copy it, and we're going to move 4 lines later and paste it. Now, without changing the volume, it's going to sound pretty weird, but I'm going to play it for you first. Now that sounds weird as hell, because that's not how delays work. Delays get quieter. So, in order to make this work properly, we're going to change our volume, and doing this linearly and exactly is easier, but I'm going to be difficult. So rather than cut it in half or in a quarter, I'm going to do kind of an awkward third. And I'll just kind of interpolate what these should be as I go. So we'll do 20 and 12. That's how those will go. Same deal here, same deal there. And that'll be 4. Now it's just all about plugging these into the right spots, and then we will have our echoey, cool sounding channel. It's just that easy. Oh, no it's not. I'm taking shortcuts I shouldn't be taking. I gotta do that with every channel. So the weirdest thing about what I'm doing right now is that if you really think about it, the most time-consuming part of this song right now is something you're barely even going to be able to hear. That's just sort of, you know, little bit of flash to make the song sound a little bit nicer. But it is a very important technique for making Nintendo-style music sound as good as it possibly can, so no reason to cut corners. I'm cutting enough with the timing and scope of this whole thing, so. Alrighty. We are getting there, people. You will have a finished piece of music uploaded on SoundCloud in no time. And this one I'm going to change just a little bit. This is actually something I learned to do a couple months ago with a song that I wrote for this game, Made in a Day. It was actually ironic. That was the first game that I attempted to do in this sort of a format, and I completely botched it. A, I didn't grasp that streaming the actual desktop would be such an effective way of you know, presenting this kind of content. B, I tried to make an entire action RPG, and C, the jam wasn't 8 hours, it was 24 straight hours. And I did manage to stay up all 24 hours, and I was working the whole time, but there was almost nothing playable at the end of those 24 hours. I had 4 rather good songs, I had a crap ton of art, I had the entire map set up, and you couldn't do anything on the map. So I have since much better understood the appropriate scope for a project like this. So what I'm doing over here, anyway, to get back to what I was saying, what I'm doing over here is the same echoey type thing I was doing before, but with the echo channel, I'm going to use a different instrument. So the echo is going to have a slightly different shape to the sound, if you will. Or if you won't, I already said it. I'm just going to save time and start cheating. And now I got to change those samples around. And it has only been 35 minutes. Well, it's been a little longer than that since I started early, but I'm giving myself until 5 p.m. to get all the music done. It is 3:35 p.m. currently for me right now, and I did a whole explanation thing as part of this song, so we're still on track. 3 more songs, it's still going to be pushing it, but we'll see how close I can get. And who knows, I may do a little more music into the next block of time, too. Music's my favorite thing, so. Alright, so I haven't checked this in forever. I have no idea if what I've done sounds good or not. Let's find out right now. Hopefully this will be a finished song if I didn't screw anything up. All right, I think that does it. I don't really need to do anything else to that. So that is gonna start, and then it's gonna loop through once, and then it's gonna replay that intro part. And I think that's enough for me. That's gonna be the title theme for this game. properly title it.